Ancient of days. He's the ancient of days. And so, yeah, my family, you are on Heart to Heart, and I am so honored this afternoon to be with Me Debbie. Dineo Raphuti. But I see she was in and her screen just went black again. Let me try to reconnect with her. I know she's still there. But let me just try to reconnect with her. Debbie, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am. I can hear you. Can you hear
We
me?
would, we saw your face. Now your face has left us. We'd
It's
like to see the
because
face
you want to see the face.
as well. We are streaming live on Facebook. So, and how
Okay.
are you?
Yes, ma'am. Oh,
And how
you are
are you?
streaming on the Facebook. I'm very well,
Yes,
thank
we
you. And
are.
how are you, ma'am?
We are
Yes.
doing very well. Maybe can you just tell us a little bit first before we go forward about the Citizens Forum? What is it all about? What do you
Yes.
do there?
Okay. Thank you so much, Radio Pulpit, for actually hosting us. It is such a powerful station that actually illuminate the name of the Lord. And
Mm,
I will also quote from the Bible where it says the beginning of wisdom is to fear the Lord,
right.
and that the radio pulpit is going to be also a channel that is going to propagate the issues that are actually affecting our citizens.
Mm, mm,
And thank you so much. And being October month,
mm-hmm,
coming from the Progressive Citizen Forum,
mm-hmm,
I really, we are really humbled. And the Progressive Citizen Forum, the chairperson of the Progressive Citizen Forum is Dr. Gwen Ramokgopa.
mm-hmm,
I'm the CEO of the Progressive Citizen.
mm-hmm.
And, when I always look, in the Bible, the most progressive citizen was Jesus Christ himself,
Yeah.
because they say that he went on doing good in society.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
He rebuked what was not right.
mm-hmm,
He rebuked what was actually not what was not of justice,
mm-hmm,
and he advocated for the truth and for proper things to happen in the community
mm-hmm,
of the Lord.
mm-hmm.
And I think that is why the radio pulpit is meant to be, to propagate the gospel. The gospel is not only the Bible, is not the word, but is doing good in our society.
Mm, mm,
I
mm.
thank you.
Wow. And so that is your role as well as the Progressive Citizen Forum. Now, being it the month of health, mental health awareness, what are the important things that we need to note,
You know, with the
especially as
mental
the
health,
citizen, especially as the citizen, maybe I'm just thinking about anything that a person, if a person says they have mental issues, then it automatically you find in our communities it is, or they are regarded as mad, they've lost their marbles, yeah, things like that. And so what is the importance, why should we be raising awareness on mental
is
health?
the awareness. October month, ma'am, it is the 10th of October, it was mental health. And
Mhm,
then subsequent to that, it was the Cancer Awareness Month. It was also the Food and Water, the World Food and Water. And,
mm,
and we look at those issues. If you are, if, if you are not having anything to eat at home, you you become depressed, you become anxious and all, which actually make you to feel more depressed, and that causes mental issues.
Mm.
And also the issues of these non-communicable diseases, the
Yeah.
non-communicable diseases, even the communicable diseases, we call them the NCDs and that.
Mm.
They, when you are suffering from any other thing, because your body is a system. If one system is not working well, you
It
become
affects the
actually
whole body.
affected.
Hmm.
Affected in the sense that you become depressed, you become anxious and all, and mentally you are not going to be sound, and
Mm.
not becoming sound, it can lead to mental challenges.
Yeah.
And mental challenges, most of our society people then start labeling you,
Mm.
stigmatizing you, calling
Mm.
you that you are a mad person.
Mm.
And we actually want to appeal to society that people are not mad.
Yeah.
People are having challenges. Mental health is also part of that, of the diseases that I
Mm.
have already said, that is non-communicable diseases.
Sure. When you're
And
talking non-communicable diseases, I'm
it,
also thinking, Mama, about families that are affected by some of these chronic diseases that are there that
yes,
Mama didn't mention by name. I'm also thinking about families that are affected by. I've seen it rising from 2004 up until now, even in the world, parents and their children being affected by some of these chronic diseases that are rare, and others are those with autism. I've seen that also infiltrating in families as well.
yeah. Yes, autism, it is another condition which
Mm.
actually, if ever the child is suffering or one of the family member is suffering from that kind of condition, they need support,
Mm.
and how even to raise an autistic, child
Child.
with
Mm.
that condition. And it is more support and taking that child to actually proper um, developmental developmental schools where they
Mm.
can be able to give it, both the child and even the family, on how to deal with that autistic child. And
Sure.
the other one that is
Yeah.
very common is dementia, especially
Mm.
with the
Mm.
growing elderly people. Dementia, you know, and then it was very rife there in Polokwane, whereby
Mm.
in the early 90s, whereby they
Mhm.
were saying that if a person was suffering this kind of a condition, dementia, they will label the person and say that that person is a witch, and then they
Mm.
start attacking that person and even killing that person. But now there is other kind of challenges that we see,
Mm.
especially in the workplace.
Mhm.
People are not caring, people are not, supportive at the workplace. People, they like pulling other people down. They are
Sure.
very, nasty.
Mm.
And this kind of behavior in the workplace, it also causes this kind of anxieties, depression, and even leading to suicide. And
Mm.
we are actually saying to 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 people who are in the senior position in the
Yeah.
workplace,
Yeah.
appealing to them that they must actually treat their subordinates with caution, with
Mm.
care,
Mm.
and give them support at all time, and they must stop really, even at home, comparing other kids with other kids.
Mm.
Comparison must
Mm.
not really be supported in the families or even in the workplace.
Mm,
Lerato is Lerato. Lerato, she is unique with her own attributes. So you cannot compare Lerato with Dineo, because these are two different kind of people with personalities. But what you should do, you must actually give Lerato proper a kind of support, and things that Lerato should execute in her in her workspace, and
mm,
stop comparing her with Dineo. I
mm,
think that is very inappropriate, and
mm,
it is painful, and it is very harmful, and it must be stopped at all at all at all times.
mm.
And like now, our matrics have just written exams. They've
Yeah,
started with
they
their
have
first
started. Yeah, they
papers,
started. Mm-hmm.
and and we are wishing them well with
Mm-hmm.
their in their exams, and they must know that they are different, and being different, and some they are going to exceed good in their exams, others they're not going to do well. However, we must support them, we must
Mm,
give them love, and
mm.
they must know that suicide is not an option. And
Sure.
if
Yeah.
ever they've got they are having some issues with them, let them seek help. Let them go for counseling. Let
Mm,
them phone Radio Pulpit, or they can phone us,
mm, mm.
so that we can be able to give them a proper counseling
Let me
from the
ask you a question,
Progressive
Mate.
Citizen Forum. Or
Let
they
me ask
can
you a
even
question, Ma.
phone.
Let me ask you a question, Debbie. Let me ask you a question. When you're talking about people being supported at work by their seniors, and I'm also thinking about schools, well, with teachers or with educators, most of them have been trained and they can spot things from afar to say that child might be going through anxiety right now or depression. Maybe if we can, they can get help and get intervention. But now in the communities that we are talking to, in our townships, in our places of like at home, um, how do we spot these? You mentioned that in Limpopo, people with dementia were attacked because they were said to be people with they were witches. And so how do we tackle this as a society? How do we teach our people, our communities about these? Because even when you mention about families with autism and dementia, some of these they would even mention Hore, something like, and I've heard these being spoken, Koma Milodi, for example, where they said the family was using her as their muti, the daughter's muti, to get power. So, how do we tackle this? What should be our approach?
Inform, and even to report, any other kind of, you know, of identified
Mm,
symptoms, in if a person is presenting with. But starting to stigmatize
mm,
a person, it is not really allowed. But
okay.
we should also empower our communities that if they identify that kind of behaviors from their loved ones,
Mm-hmm.
they must seek
All
assistance
right.
from professionals
All
like
right.
Radio Pulpit,
Uh huh.
Progressive Citizen Forum,
Sadek.
and even in their churches,
Yeah.
in their hospitals, as we thought that MEC of Health will be a
She
part
has
of
just
the
joined us. She has
of
just
yeah
joined us, and I wanted
yes.
to welcome her. I think, Mama, if you you open your camera, you'll be able to see all of us, and so you would see that she has already joined in. Let me welcome the MEC of Health, Omo Gauteng, me no Mantu Nkomo Ralehoko. How are you, MEC?
I'm good, my dear. Can you hear me? Yeah,
We
I'm
can see
good.
you and hear you, and I see you've just readjusted your screen. Now you're out
Yeah.
of shot. Now you're back in shot. Perfecto. You're perfect right there. Welcome, welcome. Today we are empowering our citizens. We are empowering our communities, our townships, about health, mental health matters. Now, as Medebi was talking about people getting help, she mentioned the Progressive Citizen Forum, the churches, but I understand that even our hospitals should be helpful when it comes to mental health issues. People can go to our hospitals and clinic. Am I correct in this? And I'm sure a lot of people are not even aware of it.
Yeah. No, you're correct. We have allowed everyone, in fact, family members, we always talk about that when we go out to communities because we have promotional programs that we have. Even yesterday, I was somewhere around Johannesburg where we're talking about the what people should be doing when they're experiencing those problems. And we've been coupling it this month, those sessions with the cancer awareness and then mental health awareness. But part of the problem that we're experiencing in government is that that's why we are working now very closely with the Department of Social Development, is
Mm,
that most people are affected, especially young ones, because they are involved on drugs. And then
mm,
after some time, they are using these drugs because they are stronger, some of them. They end up those kids getting sick and then they go to our hospitals. But we have launched these awareness programs and we are telling citizens now any issue that you see, don't sit with that person because they are very dangerous. Even today, we're launching a museum in Pretoria at
mm,
Vescopies,
mm,
specifically on things that we are doing inside that hospital and that have been doing. Because then all this hospital that was built in the 1800s, but
mm,
it's still intact. We've modernized it. I won't mind one day that you go and broadcast it there so that you can
mm,
see because it's 1,000 bedded hospital, but now we're sitting with people, about 800 people that are there as we speak
mm.
in the hospital. But which
Sure.
means that what you are
Yeah.
doing today, it's a critical thing. It's very important in partnering and working with us so that we are able to reach out to many people in our country and in our province. But in the province, what we have done now, after
Yeah.
this program, these promotional awareness programs that we are doing, in
Mm,
hospitals, we're extending wards because we have 37 hospitals as we speak. I'm with the CEOs in another meeting here at Charlotte Kleke as we speak, Charlotte Makleke as we speak. But
mm,
every hospital now, insisting that there must be a ward that is dedicated for mental health patients
mm,
because
mm,
because and those wards, if you can go as we speak, they are all full. And now I'm
mm.
extending. We have 200 beds now that we're creating in the province. That by December, I said to the team, by December, let's have those beds because I don't want to see people in the passage because this is a problem that is there, but we need to plan for the problem. In fact, that's what I was raising even now that any issue that we know that now it's a high demand on our
Mm,
side in all these
mm,
disciplines that we do.
mm,
We must plan for it and be ready and be prepared for that. So if you can visit our nearest clinics, you will see that even at the point of entry, mental health
mm.
services are there and all these facilities, as I've indicated, at all levels of care. Because another thing is the stigma that is surrounding the
Yes,
people
yes.
with mental health.
I was going
You are
to ask
scared
you
of
on
saying
that,
you are going.
MEC. I was going to ask you on that stigma that is surrounding our people with any little mental illness. There is a stigma that goes with it. How do we deal with it? How do we educate our people? Because now the MEC is talking about Vescopies, which is revamped and it's welcoming. But as soon as you mention the name Vescopies, nobody wants
Yes,
to go
for
to
safe
Vescopies.
content.
Yeah,
No,
it's a stigma. The name on its own is a
yeah,
stigma. So how
yeah.
do we deal
That
with
is
that?
That is why we felt that let's conscientize our citizens that even if you have a problem, because there are quite different categories of that. Bipolar, you can call mention all of them. It's unlike even if in a problem, it's unlike it can be sorted out. As we speak, if you go there in that museum, it was interesting to see some of the pictures that are on the wall there. That are done by the colleagues that are there because now they are fine. So it's something that it can't stay with you forever. You can have it, but you can move out of the hospital. So, but you need the support from the
Mm,
family. You need the support from the community so that everybody must know that this is the problem that we are experiencing. Then all of us we must make sure we support you. But again, to remove the stigma, that's why we said inside the hospitals, we must not say only Vescopis and Stekfontein that we can take you to. There are
mhm,
other hospitals that must have these beds. They must have a ward that at least you are able to take me to hospital and put me in that ward decently so with other patients because I am not a patient that is at that stage that I can be chained in the bed. And even those that are being chained, previously there were some gowns that I've seen today. I was so happy to see those gowns. If you follow me on social media, there are some gowns, those gowns, they were designated to put me on that gown so that I'm being protected. Because if I am not protected on that gown, you can't chain me so that I can have a problem. But it's got a way, it's very strong, it covers me nicely so that I'm highly protected. Yeah. But again, part of this problem of this illness, which are
mhm,
common mental illness, it's depression.
mm,
That's thing. You can't say that person who's having depression when she's at that stage now, we must all run away from her. That person needs
mm,
support. Child
mm,
and adolescent mental and behavioral disorders. That's another thing. When you see these children that are even hyperactive, we must
mm,
protect that child. Must make sure that there are medications that tame the child to make the child understand. Anxiety disorder. That's another thing, and including the mood disorder. So those are part of the areas that fall revolve under mental health. Schizophrenia, it's part of those. Dementia, it's part of those.
mm,
I've indicated bipolar, but so those are the diseases that can be curable. The
mhm,
support is there. But you must cure it because people mustn't think that they are going to die. And I was telling them that don't if you have been given medication,
mm,
continue with your medication. After 3 months, we're going to see a difference when we check you thoroughly.
mhm, mhm, mhm. And so, are our professionals in these other hospitals trained to deal with these? I've heard of people, you've mentioned, Mama, people who are, I'm going back to the MEC, you've mentioned children who are hyper energetic. We are talking children with ADHD. We are talking children with
Yes.
autism as well. But I've heard of parents taking their children to these hospitals and expected to champion the whole thing where the staff don't know what they're dealing with. Now you have mentioned that you have been empowered. Are they trained? Are they ready to tackle such issues? Because most parents have been disappointed and hurt at the hands of our professionals.
They are ready and they are trained. Hence, if there are those incidents, we act because we know that we can't take a person that we know that is not capable and suitable to take care of them and put in that ward. So specific people with specific doctors that are trained, that are supposed to run that ward. Those are the ones that we're putting there, including the interns. We collaborate now with the universities so that those
Mm-hmm.
students that are at the at that level that they are able now to go and do some work in the hospitals, for example interns, we're taking them to do that so that they can get the experience. But always when we have interns, our interns are working with the qualified nurses, with the qualified doctors, so that we can't leave them unattended in those situations. So they are training, we're training them. In fact, we want to train even the normal nurses now in this
Mm-hmm.
new group that is coming in January. We're saying there must be training, there must be a subject that talks to mental health because it's a serious problem. But again, we are working with private sector to ensure that we beef up our teams, especially doctors, sessional doctors, and we're working again with foundations that are
Mm-hmm.
responsible for mental health cases. And they're coming up front now because as government, we've opened ourselves and say, help us. There are these things that we are unable to deal with them alone as the department. So most people are prepared to assist, including our Stepi that you are interviewing today. She's one of the people that are
Mm,
is in identifying some of those communities where we find these children, we find these parents, and we take
mm,
them to hospitals and advise me, because which is a good thing, because I work with her very closely. They play that advisory role to myself as an
mhm,
MEC, so that my team understands that we are not alone in this problem. Because, and I always say that parents must know that we're not alone. We even need them to be involved in this. That's why
mm,
if you dump leave your child in the hospital, I always say don't dump your child in the hospital. Work with us to ensure that your child is taken care of. Even volunteer to stay, because we have even places in the hospital that you take your child, you sleep there. We have those
mm.
areas that we've accommodated for you, so that your
Okay.
child can be able to sleep in the hospital with a mother. You are just next door, you come and check your child. So that if there are incidences like the one that you have seen, I'm sure in Kopanong, that happened there, when that child had to kill herself if the parents were there, at least we wouldn't have gone through that problem. But it's the parent that said, take her. I don't need her in my house. I
Mm,
can't deal with her. Including the other one that nearly killed himself at Bethel. But we saved that boy, Katleho. Katleho's mother, because I personally went to Katleho because I'm not staying far from where they are staying. I said, what is the problem? And she said, I don't need Katleho in my house. Because at Katlego,
mm.
when I was doing drugs, that was another problem, that she wanted Katlego out of the house. But we took Katlego upon ourselves, and we took her to Pethakloa. He is still there, for your information, Katlego. We're taking care of Katlego in the ward, and he is
Mm.
recovering now, because we have
Okay.
rescued to the people that have been influential to Katlego to to do drugs.
All right. Now, going back to Mum Debbie, you spoke about employers doing some groundwork, knowing your employees and taking care of their mental well being. What are some of the programs that can be included at workplaces to ensure that people are happy in their workplaces, they are healthy mentally in their workplaces? What are some of the programs that on the cards that can be suggested to employers? Debbie, are you still there? Okay, let me throw it back at you,
Yes,
MEC. Oh, okay.
can you repeat the question again? I'm sorry, I
Some
was a little distracted here because yes,
Okay, let
yes,
me
ma'am.
repeat. The question is, what are some of the programs that have been suggested or are being suggested to employers where their employees are concerned? Yes, you've mentioned they need to be aware of their mental well-being and take care, but what are some of the programs that can be included in our jobs or workplace for the employees' mental well-being?
Thank you so much, MEC. You are also welcome. We are really having a very progressive MEC of Health, Honorable Nomuntu Nkomo Ralehoko, and he is so much caring, and he is such a concerned citizen, and
Mm-hmm.
understand the no, I'm coming, the workers' issues. We
Mm,
want that there should be wellness program in the workplace, whereby people can be able to be supported by the employers, and you
mm,
you find that sometimes the the senior person doesn't have skills on how to deal with employee at the workplace, and
mhm,
they actually need to be capacitated in that regard. And
mm,
something of a person thinking that at my age, I'm older than the MEC, and she is my senior. It should be a mutual respect between
mm,
employer and employee at the workplace. And
mm,
I, for one, if I'm working with a junior person, even with age, I must be able to respect that person and not treat that person as a child, but I must treat that child with
mm,
respect, with that she got capabilities, and
mhm,
she have also have she is have her own mistakes, and even have has strongest point and even her
Right.
weaker points. So we should be able to identify those kind of strong points about the person, and we must always be able to even to support and give guidance at all time and appreciate them, and
Mm,
not
mm,
really
mm.
speak to them at anyhow in front of other employees. It totally not
Right.
acceptable. I thank
Yeah.
you.
Reprimanding them in front of other employees, it's not right. As we are about to wrap up, MEC, when it comes to the young people that you were talking about who are suicidal, we see the escalation, especially during this time of examinations and even beyond, up until Feb, there's an escalation of that. How do we deal with that and help our children where that is concerned? Now, I'm talking about children who are not even on drugs, children who are writing exams. They love what they're doing, they love being at school, but they are anxious. And I wonder, there's also that question. I wonder if parents are aware, they can tell the tale, are there telltales to say, something is wrong, Kasbongile, and we need to do something about it. Your advice, MEC, on that?
My advice will be charity begins at home. As
Right.
parents, make sure that we protect our children, which I always raise it in all the public meetings that I am. Let's take care of our children. Let's protect them. Let's know what they want and what they do. During this month is the month
Mm,
where they are starting. They are all going to have a problem of anxiety. Some they are
mm,
not going to sleep. I know personally that's what my daughter was experiencing last year when she was writing matric. I had to
mm,
take her because I can afford to the doctor so that she can be able to get some medication that normalizes even her sleep, because she will not sleep, she will not eat, she just sits in the books, gives herself a break, go back to the books again,
mm,
and not even attending to the things now she's supposed to do. And I knew that if I don't stop it, if I don't counsel her, that will lead to her going crazy. Because of the frustrations that she's having, that she wants to pass, she wants to please the parents, and that's the problem that our children have been experiencing. They want to live including us as parents, we want to force our children to live our lives because we're telling
mm,
them, what will the family say if you fail? That's what we
mm,
always like to. So we don't support them. Even if we support them, we'll always throw some words that will hurt them. So that's why we need to guide them, protect them. They are very vulnerable. The environment that that they're growing up on, it's very hostile. It's having a lot of things, which one of those are the drugs that they end up getting involved in. So it's a painful thing that our children that they're going through. And at work, what you are raising to us, Debbie,
yeah,
I think
yeah.
what we department is to ensure now that we activate health and wellness centers in all our hospitals, in all our offices, because that's another area that is going to help us to reduce some of the problems that we're having at the
Mm,
workplace, because we'll know that you have a support at the workplace, which is critical
mm,
even if you're. So that public awareness again is important, and the access to the opportunities that are there, whether in the whole provincial government, is the provincial government, if it's local municipality, in the local
mm,
municipalities,
mm,
always
mm.
remember that even your workers are going through stress, they are going through pain, they have these problems that you come across them in the clinic or in the hospital. So they deserve to be treated like normal human beings too, same as our children, because those children are young adults. I always say to them, they are young adults. When they grow
Mm.
up now, they grow up understanding what are the things that they should be doing. So we must be open as parents and advise them and play that advisory role to them.
Yeah, your closing statements, Amisi.
This is the month that has been very heavy, and for all of us, because we're talking about the reality now of what our communities are facing, which is
Right.
cancer, which I know I've
Mhm.
lost lot of family members through cancer,
Mm.
and this, which is the mental health. I know if we can go to my family and test 1 to 5, definitely you will have a person that have a problem of the issues that we have raised that are associated with the mental health illness. So that's why I'm saying let's always go and check ourselves. We have these centers that we go to every region under the township informal settlement program that Mamu Panyaza is raising with that important issue. Let's utilize those programs. When we see our mobile clinics in the communities, we must go and test and check ourselves so that we identify the problem at an early stage, not to wait until it's late to recover the problem and be able to treat it. Because at that time, it's going to be difficult. And there are signs and symptoms
Mm-hmm.
of cancer that we should tell our communities. A change in the bowel or in the bladder, in your bladder, that's a sign. A difficult swallowing, ongoing stomach and ache, that's a sign of cancer. So there will be those unusual bleeding and discharges. And when we go out to communities, we tell them about those things that they can see, including weight loss, can be part of that. And both are the signs that go to cancer, including the mental health. Yeah.
Wow. Thank you so much, MEC, for talking to us this afternoon. And we're hoping that, after hearing this, we are going to do better as communities, as families, as employers as well, as parents as well. We need to pull together. Government cannot pull on their own. We need to also act. And I'm so excited to hear that you've been revamping hospitals and training staff. And wow, we can't wait to see a better South Africa, mentally sound through the help and all the work that you're putting in. May God bless your work. May Debbie, which numbers can we call for help? Because you did mention that we can also call Progressive Citizen Forum.
Yes, thank you so much. I think even also the MEC will be able to give you some contact. But seeing that I also sit in the structures of the MEC, MEC, she is also leading the faith-based organization in Gauteng. And she will also give you the numbers of the people that she's working with of the faith-based. And they can also call my number at 083
Mm-hmm.
762. I'll repeat 083 762. And we are saying that please, we should be like, the child of God who went out doing good in society. He was
Mm-hmm.
also the first progressive citizen member. We should be very progressive citizens so that we can be able to act appropriately on the issues that are affecting us. And we
Mm-hmm.
really want to thank the MEC for coming, in this interview to come and inform the the, the, the society about what she is doing
Mm-hmm.
in the community. And the number that the, the people can phone, they can phone Lerato Malibani. Her number is 082 499 4945. Lerato
Mm-hmm.
Malibani, 082 499 4945. I thank
Thank,
you. I think even the
thank you so
MEC
much.
will give you the number. I thank you.
Thank you so much, Medevi. May God bless the works that you are doing out there to taking care of his people. I think we have lost Nomuntu, Nkomo. There's no connection. Let me see, are you still there? MEC, are you still there? Okay. All right. I think we have lost connection with her because it says no connection on my side. I don't think she can also, or she's able to hear me. But thank you so much, Me Debbie, for coming through to talking to us at this current moment in time. May God bless your work as the Progressive Citizen Forum. All right. I think all of them have also switched off. But yeah, we thank God for the work that they are putting